CEO or Chief Executive Officer of a company is the highest ranking person, and they're typically responsible for quite a few things, such as making major corporate decisions, managing the overall operations and resources of the company, driving profitability, and ultimately expanding the company. But how exactly do you do that? Most CEOs that I speak with don't even have a job description. Now, when I think of CEO, I think of a different acronym. For me, the C stands for clarity. The CEO needs to have an inspiring vision that looks out further than just 1 year and 5 years and 10 years. And then they have to execute on that vision, taking massive, consistent action. And once we start executing, we get back data. And from that data, we have to optimize. And we constantly need to evolve and innovate in our companies. There are 7 essential responsibilities that a CEO has, and I learned this from Keith Cunningham, and I live it every day as the CEO of Grow Pro Agency, the martial arts industry's largest and best digital marketing agency. You know, they say that the magic is in the work we are avoiding. You either don't know what that work is, or you do know what that work is and you're choosing to avoid it. If you're not sure, in today's video, we're gonna unpack the 7 essential responsibilities of a CEO. Let's dive in. We Do the Work is dedicated to those who believe in the tenacious pursuit of their dreams. In a world where we aim to turn ceilings into floors, we dive deep into the essence of health, wealth, and relationships, uncovering that true fulfillment lies not in our achievements, but in the journey of us doing the work. Responsibility number 1 of the CEO is to have clarity on where we're at now and where we want to go in the future. And most business owners, most CEOs, they have clarity, but it's up here. It's in their head, and it hasn't been written down, and it especially hasn't been shared with their team consistently. My favorite exercise to really get clarity on where you want to go in your business is from the book Double Double by Cameron Herold. He has an exercise called the Vivid Vision, and I highly recommend any business owner, any CEO that is struggling on having a vision and getting really clear on where they want to take the team and the company to do this exercise. You gotta have clarity, you gotta share it, and you have to share it over and over and over again. Responsibility number 2 of the CEO is to identify the gaps and the obstacles inside of the business. And one of the best ways to do this is with a SWOT analysis. This is where you sit down with your leadership team and you put on paper, what are all the company's strengths? What are our current weaknesses? Where are there opportunities for expansion? And what are the potential threats that could harm our business? It is your job as the CEO to make sure you're taking a step ahead and be able to identify those gaps and obstacles. Oftentimes, the people at the top of an organization have all of the authority, but not all of the information. And it's oftentimes the team members at the front line of the organization that have all of the information and none of the authority. So getting feedback from your frontline team workers and hearing from them what they believe the gaps and the obstacles are in the company can be very helpful with this. Responsibility number 3 of the CEO is to design the plan. You are responsible for the blueprint, for putting it on paper, for what exactly is going to guide the company and its people to get you from where you're at now to where you want to be in the future. My favorite way to design the plan is through EOS's VTO, Vision Traction Organizer. This is a 2-page document that basically explains exactly where the company is, where the company wants to go, and how they're going to get there. This 2-page document has things like your core values, your core purpose, your 10-year vision, your marketing strategy, and also your 3-year target, 1-year plan, projects to help you get there. And then it also has long-term issues. Look, one of my favorite quotes is, your business is broken, and if things continue to go well, it always will be. There will never be a time in your business where there aren't issues or problems. The key as a CEO is to figure out which ones are we going to prioritize right now that's going to help us get closer to our 90-day or 1-year goal. One of my favorite aspects of the VTO is that this is a document you can give to all of your new hires so they have clarity on where the company's at, where it's going, and how it's going to get there. Responsibility number 4 of the CEO is to allocate resources, and those resources are your team, your time, and our money. Let me ask you, what are you currently doing to offer your team trainings to help them grow? How are your meetings set up so that there is a rhythm of communication and time is allocated properly? The CEO's responsibility is to make sure that those resources of where the team is spending their time, where the leadership team is spending their time, where the CEO is spending their time, and where the money is going is properly allocated to help us overcome the challenges that we're having right now to help us get closer to that 1-year goal. Responsibility number 5 is to build a rockstar A-player level team. Businesses do not operate themselves. Machines do not operate themselves. It's your job to build the machine that builds the machine. And that's the systems and processes, but more importantly, the people. One of my favorite quotes by Keith Cunningham says this: "The caliber of your team is the single most important component of successfully and efficiently operating the machine, yet is the one element where business owners tend to make exceptions and tolerate mediocrity." If you've got lousy players, you have poor leverage. And this is why it's so important to have your hiring process dialed in and set up communication rhythms with quarterly conversations and performance reviews. Responsibility number 6 is building out the organizational chart. The people on your team should be operating within a structure called an organizational chart. And when you build one, it will help to showcase a pathway towards success, and it can also highlight the main roles and responsibilities of each position in the company. And one of my favorite things to do is not just to have an organizational chart for today, but to also have an organizational chart of what the company is going to need in the future as it expands. This paints the picture of progression and growth for your team. Responsibility number 7 is create the culture. I call one part of being the CEO is you have to be the cultural lighthouse. How people talk to each other, how people treat each other, that is the essence of your culture. Your culture aren't just core value words up on a wall. It's truly how people feel on a Sunday night knowing they have to go into work the next day. And a great sign of a company is one that lives and breathes by its core values. I believe companies should hire, fire, review, reward, and recognize based off of those core values. If you also create a culture of feedback and a collaborative environment, that's going to help you build a strong culture as well. We want team members that are proud to work for this company, and it starts with building a top-notch culture. Being the CEO is a complex role. It requires clarity, it requires execution, and it requires optimization. And if you embrace these 7 responsibilities that you have, you can lead your company towards consistent success and growth. Remember what I said in the beginning. The magic is often in the work we are avoiding. So face these 7 responsibilities head on so you can dedicate yourself to continuous growth and leveling up your company. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe to the channel and check out my episode, The Secret to Boosting Company Morale and Building Momentum. We'll see you on the next one.